You have melted this wounded warrior's heart with this energy of, I'll show you my soul if you promise to be gentle. This is somebody that is in disbelief at this point in time because they didn't think somebody like you existed in the real world. It's like they couldn't have dreamed up somebody like you because you don't necessarily align with what they had thought was kind of their wants in this life as far as romance is concerned, but you do align with something that can best be described as a need. There's a part of them, like a wounded part of them, that has needed to cross paths with someone like you to coax them out of hiding, to not just placate that woundedness, to not scratch beneath the surface of like a stoic exterior, or the times when this person kind of like feels that the intimacy, the exchange between the two of you is a little too close for comfort, and so they reflexively kind of retreat in their shell. Other people that they dealt with romantically might have just sort of taken that at face value, turned and walked the other way. It's like you have a level of emotional intelligence or empathy that you're able to kind of like read this person's energy. You're able to perceive fear and not kind of look at that and respond to that necessarily just purely from a place of ego. But it's like your higher self sort of steps in. Yeah, maybe you need to take a step back, so that you're not sort of pouring your love and your energy in a direction of somebody that is not in a position to like receive. They've kind of closed off. But there's a sense of almost like the light in your window continues to shine. And as this person navigates their way out of their own kind of like personal periods of darkness, it is that light in your window, the light of your presence, that calls them home. This is somebody that feels stronger in your presence, stronger since they have met you. There's a sense of almost feeling like you are the type of person that is like an answered prayer, or that all the kind of wreckage and experiences they've had in their past romantically. This could also just be somebody with like PTSD, experiences that they've had in life that makes it hard for them to let people in, to get close to people, to trust in connection. Not because they've been betrayed, but because on a neurological level, their nervous system has been completely jacked up by experiences that they've had that have left a lasting and residual effect. And so it's made interpersonal connections a bit tricky for a while, or maybe even recently. And then you came along, and there's a sense of this person seeing you as a guiding light to a different kind of life beyond what had become their routine or the expectation, based on this kind of like aspect within that almost feels the intensity of closeness with other people on a deep emotional level. It triggers something within at times, like an urge to run, an urge to push people away, something that might not even be like within their control. And yet with you, there's a sense of like a path towards healing is available. Like your presence heals them. And this may be something, if this is already a person, like if they have PTSD and they've been trying to like deal with that on their own in different sorts of ways, this might be somebody that is kind of like, okay, there is love for me along that path of healing as well. This is not just an experience where I need to cope with my life as it is at this point in time, but there's someone out there for me. There's someone out there who is sensitive enough, empathic enough to see where I am making efforts to come to terms with these things that I hold inside, or the way in which my outlook on life or the ability to connect with others has been like forever changed, has been damaged through experiences and situations that I didn't ask for, or maybe I got myself involved in. And this is just kind of, this is the legacy of those things, even if they were long in the past. This is something you've restored hope within this person, that it's not just a lonely journey that they need to kind of make peace with. They don't just have to operate on survival mode. They don't just have to, exist as like a version of themselves behind that stoicism, that something else is possible, something different is possible, somebody who gets it, somebody who understands. and that somebody is you. We also have, I don't want anyone else, I just want you. So yeah, be patient with this person. It feels like for a lot of you, there may be aspects about them. Again, PTSD is coming up very strongly. If you don't know anything about PTSD, you might want to look that up. It's more than just soldiers at war that experience that. Maybe this person is like military, former military, or they could just be somebody that has been through experiences that have created that kind of like neurological change within them. Their life is now built around that component of self that bears the wounds, that bears the alterations of kind of the memory of who they were before certain things happened, and then how the world itself came to feel very threatening in the aftermath of certain experiences. So this is somebody it feels like that is navigating kind of a tricky path at this point for their life in general. Maybe you're aware of certain things, or this could be things that you're not aware of. But if you're resonating with this message and with this energy, it's like there's more than meets the eye to this situation. This isn't just somebody that's running hot and cold because they're uncertain or they're trying to get you to chase them. It feels like this person sits and they have a lot of longing to connect, a lot of desire to connect. It's an act of bravery for this person to remain as open as they can for periods of time to the exchanges between the two of you. And this is somebody who is, holding themselves to task in the times where it's like, okay, they take a step back, they flinch, something triggers them, and it might not even be something between the two of you. It's something like, pressure from their life in general, or again, with PTSD, kind of the triggers that just exist, not just flashbacks, but in the environment they are in the circumstances they have to kind of be involved with it, present, that kind of shuts off that emotional center from time to time. And this is something where there's a big desire for something more between the two of you, romantically speaking. This person doesn't want to miss out on this chance with you or kind of lose your connection because they have these personal struggles that it feels like have been going on since before you came into the picture, before you arrived on the scene. And yet you have caused this person as well to kind of like focus their attention on something more, something beyond than what has been kind of part of their daily struggle or their daily process up to this point in time, to kind of like manage that PTSD. Maybe even, if it's not that extreme, something that would be labeled as such. This could just be experiences, a chapter of their life that they have moved beyond. They're trying to reestablish a new normal for themselves. They're trying to kind of put the past behind them and just be grateful for the present moment and look towards the future. And there's a deep desire and a longing to have something more with you. But this is somebody that has to kind of like get to that place of being very anchored into kind of this present frequency within their reality in order to fully welcome in those new experiences. So even in the times this person is silent, there's a sense of, it's like they hope so much that deep sense of empathy within you will allow you to kind of hear the things that they are unable to say, that they're unable to communicate, that you're able to kind of pick up on that vibe. And unlike other people who might have just jumped to that conclusion of like, oh, well, this must just be something, to wound my ego. It's not in accordance with my sort of 3D needs in the here and now, so I'm out of here. This is somebody that hopes that there's the capacity for the two of you to go deeper with one another as they are in this process. It feels like of kind of working through some very tough things, some very unfair things, some very difficult things in order to create a better quality of life for themselves. And there's a lot of hope that on the other side of something that may involve kind of broadening their routines, habits, and patterns, that there's a chance and a possibility for something more beautiful to develop between the two of you. We also have, I want to hold you in my arms so badly. So you are like wish fulfillment for this person. Your sensitivity, your gentleness, your spiciness, your impulsivity, the fact that you are very reliable, all of these things, all of your contradictions, it feels like it's helping this person to kind of look at themselves and to expand beyond their comfort zone. to take another brave and bold step forward beyond whatever has been kind of like the central focus for them at this point, what they have, held on to in order to like create a sense of kind of normalcy for themselves. Or again, for a lot of you, this is somebody that's like dealing with PTSD and the struggle with that, and how that consumes so much of a person's energy, so much of their ability and willingness to kind of take chances. So much of that energy is invested in kind of just getting through the day. And you've come along, and all of a sudden it's like that day is brighter. That horizon is not so, scary. The idea of kind of like reaching for something else. It doesn't feel like they're going to lose their footing, like they're going to capsize if they push themselves in the direction of everything that they're working on at this point, but also embracing the possibility between the two of you that, again, there's like love for this version of them. Life experiences have kind of like left them worse for wear, but that there's a sense of like even this version of them is lovable, not just tolerable, and not just a version of them that has to kind of resign itself to loneliness. Self-love, gotta love yourself, and that's the best. This is something where you have now kind of popped that illusion, and there are wide open possibilities of like someone to share their life with, which it feels like for this person was something that they haven't hoped for or hasn't seemed very realistic in quite some time. We also have this connection scares me sometimes because it is so intense. So yeah, this person feels very deeply for you. They don't want to come across as like needy or clingy, because there's a sense of almost like you are a source of light or strength for them, even in the ways in which you hold space for this person as they are kind of like wrestling with their own demons, in whatever ways that manifests, especially with PTSD. Again, if you don't really know anything about that, Google that, look that up, do some research about that. That might give you some context about this person and what you're dealing with, or rather what it is that they are dealing with. And despite all of that, this is somebody, it feels like, that really wants to invest all of their hope in something beautiful happening between the two of you. They're hoping that you are the person that can bestow the gift of love upon them and can receive the love that they have the capacity to feel inside. But it's just been cluttered by all these other kind of impulses, all these other kind of, things maybe going on with their nervous system, ways in which the world around them or their life or just the world at this time in general has kind of set this person off. It's exacerbated some of their symptoms. And they're trying to get a hold on that. They're trying to get a handle on that. And they don't want to miss out on this connection with you. They don't want to like present themselves as like, hey, I'm damaged goods, so I got a whole lot to offer. This is somebody who's learning to kind of delete that concept from their narrative, erase that from how they've come to view themselves at this point in time. This is something where the interactions between the two of you make this person feel like they are not beyond the point of, being loved and cherished and accepted for who they are. Seen as like a wonderful gift in the life of another person rather than just a burden that people must deal with, or somebody who's so damaged or who's struggling, and weak people kind of just move in the opposite direction, turn their backs, ignore, because they don't want to be bothered, they don't want to be troubled, they don't want the messiness, they don't want the chaos. This is something, this connection between the two of you helps this person to feel that maybe there is a place of belonging for them romantically in the arms of another, because they've been working so hard to cultivate that sense of belonging inside of themselves. And so they're trying to kind of show up, to not give in to that impulse to run, to stay open to this connection as long as they possibly can. But in those times where it just becomes too overwhelming, or again, like other things as far as their PTSD, even that wounded warrior energy, it kind of just like, it's overload, and they just sort of shut down and they back off. You are a light in a window in the darkness that they follow, that they move towards, that they reach for as they kind of pull themselves back into a place of being able to participate in your connection and in the world a little more effectively. So you are a very important part of this person's world and reality. And for more than just as like a support system, this is something where it's like, okay, it feels like, love is something that I can have too, despite things I've been through in life that have maybe collapsed the opportunity for different sorts of things, or maybe what they've been through, what they're experiencing, it's cost them loving relationships. So this is somebody, it feels like that there's a hopefulness that there's still more for them to experience beyond just that energy of like, gotta love yourself, and that's really all you need. They're really good at that. And so they like the idea that finally there's somebody who has shown up in their reality that they can pour into the cup of, and can also kind of strengthen their ability to receive the love that you are pouring forth from your cup to them as well. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.